actual...
Is that back-to-back World Cup winning kits?
Between the two of us?
Wow. For those who don't know, in 2002, Brazil won the World Cup in this particular kit. I had the privilege to design this, and with this particular kit we did a lot of work on what we call cool motion. Then we did a lot of work around massive colour, and it was really with the athlete in mind when we designed the football kit, which is something that I hold very dear in everything that I do now. We're always looking for that competitive advantage, something that's going to make the consumer buy the product and want the product. One, either to train in it, or two, because we've managed to address that particular type of product slightly differently. So really the 2002 was probably the first time I'd actually seen all the effort that I'd put into a football shirt being worn on the global stage. So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I designed this picture frame.
Yeah, picture frame, yeah, great, mate.
Not really, and that's not me in the picture either, as much as I would love to look like Fabio Cannavaro. But yeah, I designed the shirt that won the World Cup in 2006. So the actual...
Is that back-to-back World Cup winning kits?
Between the two of us?
Wow. God,
look at us. Yeah, same sort of thing, just that incredible moment of you embark on designing something for the athlete, and then that happens, which I think, knowing that you've given it your all in trying to make sure the athletes can feel comfortable, confident and better at their game then, yeah. If I think about 2006 as a start point, that was definitely the purest, or the first time I'd done something that was very pure for the athlete. The brief was get players to the ball faster. So we developed a brand new fabric. We thought about how that would fit around the body, the psychology of the athlete, making it difficult for opponents to pull the shirt, giving the player freedom of movement around the back. There was so much that went into it. We tested it in a low velocity wind tunnel. So it was really single-minded on thinking about what it would do, but then also taking into account the psychology of those players, that for aerodynamics, the easiest thing to do would be make it skin tight. But for some of the players, if they're taller and slimmer, they're not going to be so happy and confident wearing that, and that would negatively impact what they were doing. So that's where I guess the style and aesthetic thing that you've mentioned for yourself there, that plays in a lot, because pure function isn't enough. It's got to have that something that elevates the confidence of the athlete with it. And so I've always been really conscious of that over the years, and strive to find kind of what are the insights that we can gain from an athlete. And it's not necessarily, athletes won't always be able to tell you what they need. They can tell you what's wrong with products, or what's not right with...
You've not come up with a solution yet, so they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very rare that an athlete will say, oh, well, I need you to do this. And I've always said the best feedback we can ever get from an athlete, wherever I've worked, including Squat Wolf now, is no feedback at all, because most athletes will tell you if there's something wrong, but if there's something right, they'll just get on and wear it.
Yeah. So basically, 2002 World Cup was in Japan and Korea.
It was.
We knew it was going to be really humid, unlike the World Cup that we're now watching in Qatar, where the temperatures have been controlled somewhat, i.e. they've got air conditioning in the pitches and stuff, and from what I'm understanding, what we're hearing is that temperature's being really controlled for the players. Back in 2002, that wasn't the case at all. So what we found out really quickly was the fact that the basic knitted polyester that you would see in a lot of sports jerseys at that time, football jerseys, just was not going to do it. So we came up with two layers. One of the layers, the intention is to take the moisture away from the body.
Yep.
So that would take all the sweat from the player, and then ultimately the outer layer, which has a water repellent finish on it, wouldn't allow water to penetrate the shirt. But the reason why you can see all this other little mesh details around was the idea behind it was all of these mesh panels allows air to come into the jersey and circulate around, which would effectively cool down the player but also allow the moisture to evaporate. So that was the thinking behind it, and
Is that why it was called Cool Motion?
Cool Motion, exactly.
Wow.
I thought long and hard about that one.
Yeah. So for Italy itself, aside from the performance aspect, which was very much driven around speed and getting players to the ball faster, the other thought was how we could create something that really espoused everything that the Italian national team were about. So we came up with the concept of the Italian players as superheroes. So there's the dark navy stripes or areas that run around certain parts of the kit. And the idea was that when you see a superhero in a comic book, that the colour tends to bleed off the drawing of the hero and into the background. So in motion images of the players running in the still photographs, you would get that kind of blurred effect onto the athlete. But then for the away jersey, which wasn't worn at the tournament, it was worn afterwards in other matches, we kind of took the Clark Kent to the Superman of the home kit. So the jersey at the front is very much kind of the home shirt that's cut into a V-neck that's white. So it gives the impression of a t-shirt that's been pulled over the away shirt. So you've got Clark Kent and Superman. So both highly functional, but with quite a quirky little story to tell, and something that really reflected the way the Italian people looked at the Italian national team as athletes and representing their country.
So it's the inspiration's always the environment, the players, how to make the players more comfortable, and that is something that I do even to this day. So if I'm thinking about a collection for Squat Wolf, let's say for argument's sake, it's one of the collections I work a lot on is a collection called Golden Era, which is pretty much one of the tops that I'm wearing. Now with Golden Era, it's a kind of retro collection which is based around the golden era of weightlifting.
Yep.
Which obviously was around the 70s, which was where I tended to focus those collections. Now it would be easy just to go back and get cotton fabrics, which is what they were wearing, with ripped off sleeves and all the rest of it.
Remake the clothes.
And just remake them. But what we did was we thought, right, well, the modern athlete isn't going to want that. They're going to want something that wicks moisture and has the cotton hand feel to it, but actually on the inside it's got polyester, so it'll take moisture away from the body and it'll still, look old and vintage. And we spent a lot of time trying to get little details where we've cut, the seam so it frays down, and once the thing starts getting washed, it just becomes like your best friend almost.
Yeah.
And I love that about design. I love being able to design things that, once you've owned them and worn them and worn them and worn them, you almost build your own character into the products. So pretty much everything that I've done through my career has been a bit of a journey. It's like you start off with World Cup winning kits and the philosophy and the ethos that you've put into that, and then that just keeps growing, really. I'm 30 years in the industry now, so...
Really?
Yeah, you wouldn't think it, though, would you?
Look, you must have started when you were 5.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway. Certainly for me, from a stylish perspective, most definitely. I think where me and Rob are slightly different is I graduated from the Royal College of Art, so fashion and like more kind of men's tailoring especially, a lot of jacket designs, and so whenever we design something for Squat Wolf, we're looking at it from a perspective of how do we make it perform first and foremost, so the athlete can wear the product and feel really comfortable working out in that product. But just as importantly as that 3-second sale, it's how do we make it look really visual and really of the moment. So for like inspirations, I'm constantly looking at, you know, what's going on from a fashion perspective. You know, I'm looking at what kids are wearing on the street. I'm looking at where, you know, what street culture's doing. So I'm trying to get that, and I'm looking at art exhibitions. I'm looking at all sorts of things to get inspiration. So then once you get all of that and you build that into what we call a creative direction, you know, it all kind of amalgamates in something quite interesting. And then because we've worked so closely with Squat Wolf, we now know what the DNA is, what the pulse is to the brand, and we kind of squeeze it through our own DNA, and then what comes out at the end of it is unique product. Because that's what's really dear to our hearts, is whenever we design anything, we're trying to do stuff that people haven't seen before. So, you know, that's in every bit of collection I do. So whether it's style, whether it's innovation, you know, so it is massively important for me, yeah.
And for me, I think I'm constantly looking for what are those little insights for the athletes that will solve problems that maybe they don't even think about. I mean, you and I talk a lot about zero distractions and the idea that an athlete they could just get on with whatever it is that they're doing. So I think if we think of some of the materials that we've worked with that have included graphene in the fabric, or the new materials that we've got coming out that really pull moisture to the outside of the fabric really fast. We've done the leggings that have got the abrasion resistant panels down the front, so that if you're doing deadlifts you don't smash your shins to pieces and end up with bruises and scabs. But then also thinking sustainably as well, where building in things like abrasion resistant panels or making the products more robust means that they last longer, which, you know, doing things that are good for the environment doesn't just mean recycled yarns and whatever else. It's all good and it all helps, but things that last longer and consumers can use for longer obviously has a big impact as well. So for me, it has, like you said, that evolution of my understanding of what people want and need, and what are the tools that we've got at our disposal that we can use to help make their lives better or easier. So that's always followed me through whether I've worked at working designing football kits, Formula One, Usain Bolt at the Olympics, yoga product for a huge brand based out in Canada over there, all the, you know, the things that I've done. That's always been at the heart of it, is elevating that athletic experience for the people wearing the product. Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, that's it. So, little peek behind the curtains with regards to what Mr. Warner and Mr. Buglass do on a more of a daily basis, if you like. If you enjoyed that, then get a little bit more. Make sure to look us up on all of our social media channels, including YouTube. You'll be able to find the links in the description below. And until the next video, take care, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.